Podcasting from the Lone Star State in Southern California, you're listening to the Coma Podcast with Cody and Matt.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Coma Cast. Today is May 27th. It's a Thursday, and today we're going to be talking about Matthew Mickens-Murrey. He was a 26-year-old gay male who was found stabbed to death in his apartment on May 30th, 2017. So we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about Matthew Murray. He was 26 years old, and his case, in good news, his case is solved. However, the perpetrator has not been identified. And so I thought it would be a good idea to do this case anyway, to bring light to the fact that things still take time. And even though they're solved, it was 3.5 years after his murder that it was solved. Now, initially, I located this case in early 2020, and Cody and I have been working through each one to make sure each one gets its own space and time to be talked about. So I located this case in early 2020. Cody and I had compiled a list of cases to work on initially, and his case was on it. And so he was 26 years old at the time of his death. And the last time he was seen was on May 28th of 2017 at a local gay bar in DC called Nellie's. Two of his friends had mentioned that he had been seen there. And then on May 30th, when he hadn't been heard from, police were called for a wellness check. And when they got to his apartment, they found him stabbed to death, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. His apartment was on Newton Street in Hyattsville, Maryland, and his last known location was the DC gay bar Nellie's on the evening or night of May 28th. The two friends I referenced, Alan James and Terrence Ford, stated that Murray was a kind-hearted and no-nonsense guy. He worked as a security guard in the DC area, and police do not currently, and they've not indicated since, that this was a hate crime. Now, when I located this case in early 2020, there was no information about it. There were flyers and articles written around the time of his death, in the 1 or 2 months following his death, and then literally nothing, just radio silence. And then in November of 2020, there was a notification there was an article written where Naja Murray, Matthew Murray's sister, stated that back in July, after 3.5 years, she had received a call from the police stating that her brother's murder had been solved. Now, like I mentioned, there is nobody's been identified, no suspect or suspects. And so we do not know who. But we do know that at this point, apparently justice is being served, because, like I said, they haven't been identified. So likely that means there's been no court hearing, no case, no anything has been made public for all of us. So Matthew Murray's killer left behind DNA that the police indicated was a strong DNA case. A grant was awarded to Prince George's County in the amount of $470,000. We do know that justice is in the process of being served, and this was done and made possible by the DNA company Parabon. The killer had left behind strong DNA evidence, and then with the updated forensic technology, and using Parabon, they were able to build a family tree for the suspect based on the evidence left behind. Prince George's County, Maryland, has approximately 600 cold cases at this time. 120 of them are homicides, and approximately 360 are sex offense cases. Now, there was a grant released to them in the amount of $470,000. State Attorney Aisha Braveboy had indicated that each DNA test costs approximately $2,000. So they'll be able to handle about 60 cases with it, because they said that each case can have one or more suspects that need DNA tested each time they run this. So at this time, they do believe that with this grant money, more cases will be processed. And of course, in this particular case, Murray's case was fortunately able to be linked with his killer or killers, and that they can be publicly identified and brought to justice. So I do want to thank everybody for listening to this case. I know that typically we talk about unsolved cases. However, it's almost the 4-year anniversary of his death at the time of this recording. And it's not great news, but it's good news, I guess, that, per his sister, that justice is being served and identified, and that the killer has been identified and some closure has been brought to the family.
So, hey guys, we want to remind everyone that you can keep in touch with us on all of our social media channels, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can do all of that at the ComaCast.
And we definitely love to interact and hear from all of our listeners. All of this is not possible without you guys.